we are going to go through these Joker disaster details because I have to give it the culture crave. As the day has progressed since the release of Joker, there's just been more and more information essentially coming out. Like, for instance, the Variety article yesterday talking about how, oh, Arthur Fleck has never really been the Joker. And then people going and pulling up the script for the first film. And at the end of the script, it says, Angle on Joker lit up in red. Done cutting his smile, letting go of the jagged, bloody shard. Leans his head back against the squad car, closes his eyes, covered in his own blood. He's finished. Now he is the Joker. It seems as though it's a little bit of revisionism. An argument could be that this ending was technically thrown out, and instead of carving the Joker smile into his face, he basically just wipes the blood up to create the Joker smile. So that's really not canon. So you can't say that he is the Joker. It leaves the possibility that he could renounce the Joker the way in which he did in the second film. But it seems as though, from everything that we've received from the first film and the way in which the script was written in regards to the first film, at the end of the first film, Arthur Fleck is the Joker. He is defined as the Joker. And since the first film has come out, nobody has corrected anyone in regards to calling Arthur Fleck the Joker until the second film was essentially released. Now, we go here because Culture Crave has done a fantastic breakdown of just everything. And we are going to go through everything. So, the Joker Folie à Deux details on disaster. Number one, idea came to Joaquin Phoenix in a dream. I wish I had that ability. I wish I could go to sleep and have a dream, and WB would give me $200 million to make a film. And I bet you if they did that, I'd probably create the greatest Flash film they've never created. Number two, contemplated putting on a Broadway show before committing to making a movie. You probably should have just did a Broadway show. Number three, Todd Phillips had free reign with Warner Brothers wanting him to do his thing, and the film had no test screenings, which is madness. Absolute madness. That you didn't put this film in front of a focus group at all. Because I feel as though if this film was put in front of a focus group, that focus group would have tore it to shreds and it would have sent you right back to the drawing board. Lady Gaga signed on before the script was finished. Wild. New DC boss James Gunn had zero involvement, gave notes, but Todd Howard refused to use them. And that is something that I had heard on the low from someone that I know inside the business about the fact that James Gunn was kind of like, hey, maybe you should, change this. And maybe you should focus a little bit more on this aspect of the character. And Todd Phillips was so in the zone about, oh, I don't want anybody touching my baby. I don't want you guys over at whatever you're doing over there at DC to affect what I'm doing. And he basically told him to go fuck himself. Film had a huge budget, 200 million, including 20 million salary for Joaquin Phoenix and 12 million for Lady Gaga. Them motherfuckers got paid. To quote Samuel L. Jackson, I don't give a fuck if it flops. I get paid up front. Number seven, musical aspect was largely downplayed in marketing, with director Todd Phillips at first insisting it wasn't one. My dear, Todd, Todd, you spent the last year telling us it was going to be a musical. How do you spend the last year telling us it was going to be a musical and then before it comes out, downplay the fact that it's a musical? That's insane. That's insanity. That's the equivalent of Avengers Endgame. No, that's the equivalent of Infinity War coming out and Thanos snapping away the vast majority of the universe. And then for Endgame, we're like, hey guys, we're not one of the aspects of Endgame isn't attempting to get revenge on what Thanos did in the first film. It's not an attempt to undo what Thanos did in the first film. The Avengers are going off on a completely different journey. And then as soon as we get into the theater in the first 5 minutes, the Avengers go and get revenge on Thanos. It's like I thought he said that was gonna happen. Like I don't understand. That That is truly diabolical. Christopher Nolan reportedly changed the ending of the first movie because it ended with Phoenix's Joker carving a smile. There was no resistance for the sequel with Nolan leaving WB. So, with the first film, I'm assuming Christopher Nolan had something at WB, maybe some level of leadership or some level of power because of the original Batman films. And when he read, I'm amazed that Christopher Nolan actually decided to read the script. When he read the script, he was like, "No, no carve face. That's only for Heath Ledger's Joker. We're not doing that again." But in my opinion, Christopher Nolan should mind his own fucking business and focus on whatever the fuck project he was working on at the time, instead of meddling in somebody else's film the way in which he doesn't like people to meddle in his goddamn film. Number 9, Todd Phillips was secluded on a ranch during opening weekend. He knew his film was gonna be some absolute shit. He knew they were gonna pan it and absolutely fucking hate it. And my man said, "I'm going on vacation now for my mental peace." That is wild. That's absolutely wild. Film was panned by fans and critics, currently holding 30% critic score and 31% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Cinema score was a D, lowest ever for a comic book film, lower than Madam Web. I actually attempted to sit down and watch through Madam Web again, and I was like, nah. No. Like, I'm in about halfway. I'd say I'm in about halfway. And I was like, no. Like, the acting in this is so fucking bad. It's wild to think that this movie is so put together. The acting in this film is not bad, but this film is put together like shit. Like, it's like someone reached into a toilet bowl with running diarrhea and attempted to mold a statue, and the statue just keeps crumbling down. That's what's going on with this film. It tonally and narratively, it's fucked. Acting in it, fantastic. But the intersection or the interjection of the musicals that don't match the tone or the scene, or the musicals that don't lead into a shift in tone or shift in scene, or really don't have any reason for being there outside of just being shoehorned in, really does break up the flow of the movie really bad, to the point that you just stop caring. Domestically opened with 37.8 million, lower than comic book films like Morbius and the Marvels. Diabolical. I think between these two, the Marvels is a good film. It's, in my opinion, a C plus. The acting from the three main women, from the three main Captain Marvels, is fantastic. The only problem is I feel as though it deserved a better villain. I don't think the villain of this film was all too good, but I think that Monica Rambeau, Carol Danvers, and Kamala Khan did fantastic. Needs 450 million globally to break even. May lose the studio over 150 million dollars. Oh yeah, that's already done. You could already you could already you can already hit a check mark on this one, because it's definitely not making. Hold on. Let's actually pull something up here. Let's actually pull something up here. Joker. Let's see how much money it's made so far. So far, it has made 114 million, which is not good. That is not good at all. Um, if it hasn't even broken even with the $200 million, yeah, if it hasn't broken even with $200 million or close to that in like its opening weekend, chances are it's never gonna hit that amount, because there's always a steep drop off during the second and third week. Second week, there's a steep drop off. Third week, sometimes it curves back up, but for the most part, it's just a drop, then a drop. If it hasn't made that money in its first week, it's never going to make that money at all. You need 450 million. I would say if they're lucky, over the next 2 weeks, they'll probably reach 250 million. But in order for it to break even, they need to make 450 million. They're not going to hit that mark. They're not going to hit that mark at all. And the last but not least, Warner Brothers Discovery is already over $40 billion in debt. How? How? You were just purchased. Didn't Discovery purchase you? Wasn't a merger about getting rid of like the debts and all the issues that you're currently fucking facing? How are you already 40 billion? 40 billion with a B? How? Because at this point in time, I think the only way for Warner Brothers Discovery to probably like spin the block and make their money back where they're solvent is probably to sell DC. But then who do you sell DC to? Because the only people big enough to basically purchase you is Disney. And at this point, if Disney decides to purchase the DC brand from Warner Brothers Discovery, that will put Star Wars, that will put Marvel, that will put all of the Disney characters, and that will put DC all under the same house. At that point in time, aren't there laws against monopolies? At that point in time, Disney would essentially own, I would say, 80% of the comic book space, with what they don't own being owned by Amazon in the form of Invincible and um what are those comics called? I forgot what the name of those are called. The one with Bloodshot and Vertigo. Is it Vertigo? I don't think it's Vertigo. It might be Vertigo. But that would put that in Amazon's wheelhouse, and then Netflix owns a few comic book companies rights as well. But for the most part, the vast majority of comic book stuff would be owned by Disney, because Disney's the only one in my head, at the top of my head, they're the only one who would be able to purchase the DC brand if Warner Brothers Discovery attempted to sell it. It's crazy that we've somehow ended up here. And we are sitting around hoping that the Superman film is good. I have faith that James Gunn is going to be able to deliver, but it's been it's been a road, man. It has been a long, devastating, annoying fucking road being a DC Comics fan. And I truly don't see this getting better in any way, shape, or form. But let me know what you think about this disaster. Comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.